are consecutive integer problems. And these problems are actually kind of fun, I think. And so consecutive integers are integers in counting order, such as 4, 5, 6, or n plus 1, n plus 2. Okay, these are just numbers that are in order. Counting by 2, if you start with an even number, will give you consecutive even numbers, so like going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And counting by 2, if you start with an odd number, will give you consecutive odd integers. For example, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Okay, so consecutive integers, this would be like 1, 2, because if n is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3. Here, n, let's use the example up to the right. If n is negative 2 plus 2 is 0, negative 2 plus 4 is 2, and so on. So these would be consecutive even. Consecutive odd integers, if I start with negative 1 plus 2 is 1, negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Okay, this is how you write consecutive odd integers or consecutive even integers. And then consecutive integers, you just add 1 instead of adding 2 each time. And number theory is the study of numbers and the relationships between them. Number theory sounds really fancy. It's really not, okay? I know no one had ever told me about number theory when I went to college, so I always heard people talking about it, and I thought they were super smart, and then I realized number theory is just things like saying n and n plus 1 are two numbers right next to each other. Okay? So don't be intimidated by that word, number theory. It's not as complicated as it sounds. So we've got this question, and we're going to write an equation and then solve the equation and answer the problem. So we want to find 3 consecutive odd integers with a sum of negative 51. So I'm going to let n equal my first odd integer. And that's actually all we need to define, because I know n plus 2 will be my second odd integer. For example, if this was 3, then n plus 2 would give me 5, which would be the next odd integer. And then n plus 4, if I add 2 more to that one, would be my third odd integer. And I'm just going to abbreviate it OI. Because if I plug any number in for n that is odd, I would get the next 2 odd numbers. If I plugged in 33, I'd get 35 and 37. It's going to be 3 odd numbers right in a row. And I know they have a sum, which means adding them together will give me negative 51. So I know n plus 2 plus n plus 4 is going to be negative 51. 3 consecutive odd integers, their sum, if I add them together, will equal negative 51. So now I just need to add them together. Plus signs in front of parentheses don't do anything, so they just make the parentheses go away. So I get n plus 2 plus n plus 4 equals negative 51. Now I need to combine my like terms. Remember, if you don't see a number in front of a variable, there's really a 1 there. So it's 1n plus 1n plus 2 plus 1n plus 4. To combine my like terms of all my n's, I've got 1n plus 1n plus 1n. That gives me 3n. Plus, I've got positive 2 plus 4 gives me plus 6 equals negative 51. Now I need to think about my pizza. Okay, if I were to plug a number in for n, the first thing I would do is multiply, and then I would add 6. So the first thing I need to do is subtract 6 from each side, because I want to take apart my pizza. I've got 3n equals negative 57. Then I'm going to divide each side by 3, and I get n equals negative 19. Which means my first number is negative 19. What's the next one? Well, I just got to add 2. It would be negative 17. And the next one, if I add 4, I'd get negative 15. We can check this if we just add these 3 numbers together. Negative 19 plus negative 17 plus negative 15 is negative 51. So I did the problem right. So it seems like this problem would be kind of tricky, but if we just remember adding 2 every time will keep me with odd integers, then this problem isn't so bad. That's all there is for this lesson. As always, let me know if you have any questions.